hey, if you are a sci-fi and fantasy author, which if I'm on your page, I'm gonna assume that there's a good chance you are, I can make your book better. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Max. I write books under the pen name Gemma Tate. I have spent too much time in academia, and I read too much. Here's the thing about most fantasy and sci-fi. You have, in general, a really smart character who really understands the world that your story is set in, and they do a good bit of infodumping to get the point across, to get the general sense of the world across. And that's a really great strategy. It genuinely is. Because you get to establish character relationships, you get to establish character dynamics, a lot of it happens through dialogue, and you get to have a set established expert who you can generally trust on the subject matter. And by you, I mean your characters, because you as the author still have to come up with it. Think Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Trinity. Think Star Trek, Scotty. If you want to go a slightly more fantasy route with it, go ahead and look at Grishaverse and assume Wylan or Kaz. Maybe David to a degree for the same kind of thing, for like understanding how magic works. Here's the thing. The super smart person that you're casting as that role in your book can't just know the information. Like, that's good. They should know the information. But let me tell you something. I have 3 undergraduate degrees and a grad degree. I now do research professionally, research and communications for a nonprofit where I deal with really, really smart people who are way smarter than me all the time. The one common thread for every single extraordinarily intelligent human who knows way more about how the world is put together than I do, they don't just know things. They have opinions about things. They have opinions about the most obscure things that, like, you or I might never even think to ask about. And they have not only asked about it, they have researched it extensively. They hold a grudge about it with a different researcher that you've also never heard of. And if you bring it up, that's what they'll infodump about, not the information that you're actually trying to get from them. And if you incorporate that into your smart person infodump in your books, your world will come across as so much more lived in, so much better textured, and so much more multi-layered. And it'll give you great grounds for good character relationship building. Not to mention a really easy in for how to talk about social justice or in-world history or anything else like that. Like, your archaeology expert is not going to be a linguistics expert, but your in-world archaeology expert can absolutely say, ugh, I'm not the expert on this, but if you really need an expert, you can call this person from that university, only a man has to do it because if a woman inquires about this kind of research, he just won't answer. Because I was in his working group and he did not like me because I was a girl and he didn't think that women should be linguists. Or whatever inspiration from real-world academia you want to take. That's my personal experience with one particular category of researcher. Or, you know, if you want to have a conversation about the different kinds of fuel that your ships run on. Because eventually later in the book there's going to be a fuel shortage and there has to be a reason why you can't just use a different kind of fuel. Have your engineer have a thing about it. Have your engineer regularly bring it up to the point where all of the other characters have to shut them up every time it comes up. It's just a really easy way to make sure that your characters feel like they're actually experts and not just like they only know a little bit of information that happens to be plot relevant. Like, this is something that I really wish I had done with some of my earlier books, and it's something that I'm really learning I need to do with my books going forward. Anywho, hope it's helpful. And if you have any tips and tricks that have been really helpful to you, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I love to learn.